feel like the evolution of gym friendships are always the same. Like well, I've even started noticing. I've noticed it at first, like on a video, and it's true. It's like when I walked in there, like first day, you didn't make eye contact with anyone. You were doing your own thing, and then it's like after a couple of weeks, like you start seeing someone that you get regular, and you're like the head nodding, you can do your own thing. And then now I'm at the point where like I walk in, I see someone regular, and they see me. And it's like we're throwing out, hey, what's up, man? I was like, hey, what's going on?
What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Mood Lifters. In this week's episode, Chris, Grant, and I talk about the progress we've been currently making on our fitness journeys. In addition to talking about mindset stuff, talking about how we can incorporate exercise in our day-to-day and have this consistent routine of doing so, and plethora of more stuff. This is a pretty jam-packed episode, and I'm super excited to get this out there. And without further ado, let's get into it. We are live. What is going on, Mood Lifters? Welcome to another episode of our show, and Chris is hopping in right now, so we're getting him at the right time. Here he comes. Chris, we are officially live. Welcome.
Thank you. Did I make it under the buzzer?
Yeah, you made it when I was making the live introduction, but that's still perfect timing. So
close enough, right?
Yeah, that's a solid. I wanted to check and see how everything's going on with you guys, and I'll give you guys my update. But anyone want to start first?
I'd love to hear from Grant. Grant, what are you up to, man?
Sure. I wasn't here in the episode last week. I had just an accident that was messing with my head at work. Thankfully nobody got hurt, but there was a large mess made. It was just a pain in the butt to clean up. Long story short, I dropped like a 700-pound barrel of ink off the lift gate of the truck when the lift gate was fully up. So, but after I talked with my management and, we figured out how I could have changed anything. It turns out I really couldn't have done anything different. It was just a freak accident as far as it goes. And the only thing that I could have possibly changed is like not to use, because I have this issue with like controlling how much power I put into stuff. When I go to like open a door, sometimes I'll put too much energy and I'll, slam it open or I'll slam it closed unintentionally. And this was probably just a situation of I just used too much power to pull the drum onto the dolly, and the liquid that was inside physics took over and, sloshed one way and then went the other, and the power of it just took over and threw it off the lift gate basically. So that was messing with me, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. But after I, sat down and kind of meditated on it, I realized, okay, it's the past. Drop it like everything else, move on. And this past week was a lot better. And here we are. We're doing great.
It happens, man. It happens. And I'm glad, no one's hurt.
Grant, what I'm hearing from this story is you're strong as fuck.
I am, it's kind of the curse of being, a 6'4" guy who's carried a lot of weight all of his life. Underneath the fat, there's some decent muscle.
Yeah, man. I've said it before. You're a power lifter, dude. For sure.
every step, moving weight. So yeah, and it's been weird. I've never been very good at, like I said, controlling how much power I put into something. So I tend to overdo it a lot when it comes to simple actions and stuff. But I'm working on it.
Just thinking about that, like I was gonna say too, because I've gotten a hug from Grant, and sometimes Grant's just like, it's like a nice little, I'm like, we can give me more than that, but if he goes too much, so I'll probably squeeze my lights out. So I get that. I resonate with that. Chris, were you gonna say something?
Oh no, man. I was just saying, like, this is exactly why I want to do something big with you guys, you know what I mean, like the Spartan race or something, because I'm waiting for that beast to get unleashed, man.
Bro, you guys got the beast. I see the beast. You just got to bring it out. I see it, dude. And both of you, man. I see that fire. So I'm pretty pumped for that. As you guys are getting this momentum and stuff, it's gonna be really awesome to see that monster come. And that monster be unleashed, basically. You guys are gonna be killers.
Yeah.
I wrote something yesterday and I was thinking about it a lot in the Facebook group. There's this, sometimes I'll post stuff in the mood lifters, like if I'll post it on Instagram on the Livery Forge page and stuff like that. There's always these like people that come in and they comment, and sometimes it's negative comments. Sometimes it's uplifting comments, sometimes it's negative comments. And the negative comments, I always look at them and I'm like, for you to have that, like the comments that just talk that shit, you know, I'm like, if I saw you on the field, you would probably give up before these guys that are actually going through this and they're pushing through, you know. I've kind of realized with a lot of people, if they have like a hard start, especially, you know, some of the stuff that we've dealt with, when you guys keep pushing forward, you guys will have this mental toughness that even with the physical activity is going to apply to it over time. Like you're going to notice that while you're pushing boundaries, you're going to look back and you're going to see people like giving up and you're like, what the hell? These guys are giving up. Like what's going on here? And it's like, to you, you've already dealt with all this baggage and you have all this, you have this physical and metaphorical weight that you're carrying. And the fact that you're able to overcome that, you guys are going to have you guys are going to have a steel mind coming into it when you drop that weight and you're doing something like Spartan race and you're handling that, you know, pain, and that your body's telling you to stop, but your body's telling you to stop. And then the back of your mind, you're like, no, I'm going to keep going. And then you push that in the forefront of the mind. You keep pushing through. I see that with you guys. So just letting you know, monsters there.
I appreciate it. I feel like I kind of had something similar like that kind of happened to me this week, as far as like the mental drive and toughness. So, you know, we're on day something like 42 of the Filthy 50, something like that. Right. And a couple people already dropped off the challenge, you know, which is fine. And I really wanted to stick it out to the end. Well, earlier this week, I did something to my hand, like my finger was all black and blue and swollen. It still hurts. And the story I was telling everyone was I saved a bus full of puppies. But the reality is I accidentally punched a wall as I was walking down the hallway. And, and I jacked up my hand. So I was in the gym, right? And I'm trying to do my push-ups, and you know, my shoulder is just getting more and more and more aggravated, right? To the point like where it's just like I can't do anything with it. So I was like, all right, I need to back off the push-ups. I still want to do the challenge. I still want to do something else. So I get on the machine instead, and I do 50 reps of the chest press, right? Because I can stabilize, I can do it with my arm, and this is like Tuesday or so. I'm doing it. Like I'm getting my 50 reps in. And I have real bad shoulders, right? So when I was in the military, long story short, I had to fight a guy. I was a military cop. I had to fight a guy. I got sliced twice with a knife during that fight, but I also tore all the muscles in both my shoulders. I had surgery on my left shoulder. I didn't have surgery on my right shoulder. But both of them need surgery. Well, because I didn't have surgery, my shoulder dislocates because the muscles just aren't there to keep it in place. And something I've always, you know, just been watching out for. Well, as I'm doing my reps, my shoulder, you know, just goes like the whole kick in and out real quick. And I was like, dude, as soon as that happens, like you're done, right? And so I sat there, I recovered for a couple minutes, and I was like, no, like I refuse to give up, but I'm also not done. I don't want to do anything that's going to, you know, cause any kind of permanent damage. So I just like lowered the weight, and I finished my workout, my exercises, and I went over. I did all my sit-ups and stuff, and man, it just felt good, right? It just felt good that to have that drive and to push through it. And I was even thinking, I was like, after the Filthy 50 is over, like I want to continue going to the gym every day and doing stuff. And so like I had noticed at some point during the week, it was like on day like 38, whatever day that was, it was day 38 of the challenge. I was like, you know what, man, like I've realized that like I've like subconsciously, I've been eating like a pizza like every day for a while. Right. It's just every day for dinner, I'd just, you know, get a pizza, I'd eat it. And I kind of realized that. And I was like, man, I need to stop this. So I told myself, I made myself like a little mini challenge. And I was like, I will not eat a single bite of pizza again for 12 days to the end of the challenge. For 12 days, I won't eat a single bite of pizza after that. That'll give me enough time to break the habit and kind of, you know, flush it out of my system. And I was like, then after the 12 days is over, I'm going to, if I do eat a pizza again, I want to eat it. And I can't eat a pizza again for 5 days. That's like my little challenge for myself. And then I was like, all right, I picked 12 days because one, it was 12 days to the end of the challenge. And then two, the 12 days just seems more achievable than 14 for some reason. You know what I mean? Like there's not a damn thing I can't do for 12 days. You know what I mean? I can do anything for 12 days. So I made that challenge myself, and I was like, okay, after day, I don't know, like where we at, like 4 or 5 now. I've been wanting pizza and stuff, and sure, but I was like, no, like, we're not going to do it. We're not going to have it. And then I was like, you know what? After I 12 days up, let's give something else up for another 12 days, and let's give something else up for another 12 days, and slowly try and transform some of these bad habits into something better.
That's incredible. That's exactly it. That's another thing, like just you doing this, you found your process and you found this groove of it, even if it's, you said it's 14, it just feels off to you. You're doing 12. You're like, I'm going to stick with the 12. And, touching up on this, you're saying you basically realize subconsciously that you've been eating a pizza every single day. A lot of us do that and we don't even realize it until we sit down and we just think about it at some moment in time. And all of a sudden we're like, holy shit, look at us. Like yesterday, my dad goes and buys some Chips Ahoy cookies and stuff like that. And I had a talk with him. I was like, dude, you can't be bringing this home. You can't. I'm like, this is with you, with your cardiac problems, you're trying to lose weight and all that stuff. You can't. This is like death to us, like all of us. Like we don't want to get in that direction. But he's like, everyone eats it. I'm like, yeah, because subconsciously in the back of I was trying to explain that, like the thing where it's like, when you're stressed out at the end of the day, you come home from work, you're looking for comfort food, you're going to open up the cabinet. Oh, Chips Ahoy, let's eat all these cookies. We're going to have 20 of these cookies. And then we're going to feel like shit afterwards. Like that's not what we want to do. So I was just messing with him on that. And then like, I had a cookie in my hand and he's like, what, are you going to eat it? I like opened up the trash can. I just threw it in the trash. And he's like, wait, that's a perfect cookie. I'm like, no, not here. Like, not here. If we're going to go out and eat and then there's dessert, yes, let's do it there. That's like a reward of the sort, but not bring it at home. I was just messing with him and stuff, but still it's like, it's that kind of stuff. And basically what you told me, I've read that book, Dopamine Nation, and I mentioned it to the show before, but she even talks about this because that, pizza, for example, or cookie is, you want that dopamine, like you want that dopamine hit, I guess you could say. And what she mentions in the book is like, when somebody's addicted to something, she challenges them to do a dopamine detox. Now with hers, it's 30 days. Some people can adhere to 30 days. Some people can't. So obviously there's variation to it. And you go in about a 12-day period, that's still pretty solid. Like for you to commit to 12 days of doing that, you may realize down the line, you're like, I really didn't need a pizza. My body was just like so used to it. And I would just subconsciously have it. Yeah. And after 12 days, you're like, oh, I can do this. I can do this for 30 days. I can do this for 60 days. I can do this for a whole year if I wanted to. And
that's why I threw in the caveat to be like, I don't get a pizza at the end of the 12 days. It's just after 12 days, if I want to eat a pizza, yes, I can eat it, but then I can't eat it again for 5 days. Right. You know what I mean? Because that's basically a week. And again, for some reason, 5 just sounds easier than 7. I don't know. So that's kind of why I put that caveat on there. But that makes a lot of sense. I was watching a video this morning actually on Pratt losing weight. How he went from like the chubby dude in Parks and Rec to ripped in the Marvel movies and whatnot. And he was saying he's like when I was chubby, like when I was in like my chubby phase, my comfort was food, right? And I would have peaks and valleys. And my peaks were whenever I was eating food, and I would have 7 peaks throughout the entire day. But my valleys were all the times that I wasn't eating food, and my valleys were real low. And he's like, after spending eight months of hardcore working out and getting into the shape that he's in, he was saying now it's reversed. Now it's my peaks are the times I'm not eating, and I have way higher peaks throughout the day, and my valleys are kind of the time I am eating, but even those valleys are just like kind of thing. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. That's something I'm kind of striving for.
I'm going to refer to another book, but that book I read, Comfort Crisis, tying into all this kind of stuff may seem like to some people it may not seem like much, but for others, it's a big goal. It's something that's very challenging, and it's individual to everybody. But in this book, I'm going to tie this all in that the topic of discussion today we should talk about is mental toughness of the sort, because this is a mental toughness challenge. So in this book, the author talks about, I think it's called Misogi. I think it's Misogi. It's a Japanese purification ritual. And what they do is they put like people go into the like towards this waterfall. It's a frigid waterfall, and they just sit in there, and it's like ice cold. They're getting all that water. It's just drenching them in freezing cold water, and it basically is a challenge for them. And during that challenge, you may at first be like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, like this is happening. This is really happening. And then down the line, it gets to a certain point where you're sitting there and you're like, maybe I can jump out of this, but now I'm starting to acclimate to this and I can just sit here and see what happens. And then you find this like Zen in the pain.
Yeah.
And, like the book basically says that if you kind of create a Misogi challenge for yourself, you could do that in pretty much everything. Like you could do it if you're doing like a long distance, like we were talking about Spartan race. Spartan race can be that challenge of us working towards and completing a Spartan race. And then maybe we could take it to the next level and the next level and the next level. And the reason why I'm talking about this is I had a situation like this in my MMA class or my Muay Thai class on Friday. We were going through an intense session of it was a lot of dodging, a lot of blocking, and then retaliation, like strikes and retaliation. And we had a fitness conditioning portion of it. And the fitness conditioning is more of, it's a part of the class, but also it's like the last 10 minutes. And what he does is he had us do push-ups with our gloves on. So we're doing knuckle push-ups, and then we're doing a bear crawls with our gloves on, crawling to the bag. And then we're doing power shots, 10 power shots. And and then you would go back and do a bear crawl all the way back, do some push-ups again. You keep doing it. You would do 5 rounds. And I was like, at round 4, after doing all these strikes throughout the class, I was exhausted and my shoulders are tired, but I'm in that process and I'm like, my shoulders are giving out. They're telling me they're going to give out, but I was like, I'm going to keep going. I finished all 5. Then he's like, oh, we got another one. And then everyone's like, their face, I could tell in everyone's faces, they're like, what the hell is he doing? He's putting us through it, Yeah. And I was like, all right, I guess I got another 5. So it was a different drill. And this time it was sit-ups, bear crawl. Then we're doing power shots from the floor. So we're on the floor and we're doing power shots and switching legs to do these power shots. And it was 5 rounds of those. And my last round, I was like, I can just quit right here and no one would know. But then I was sitting there and I was like, no, this is for me. I got to do this for myself. And then I did all 5. And that was like my Misogi challenge of the day. Cause I was like, if I do this, I've got like the rest of it is easy. And I still had jujitsu afterwards, and we did another drill, which was challenging. But after doing that in Muay Thai, I was like, I accomplished this crazy thing. And I was sitting and looking back at how much, progress I've made on my journey, like 12, now it's 12 years as of August 10th of me just on this fitness journey. And I think when you start to build up and you start getting these challenges under your belt, you're like, oh yeah, I just hit a PR, I'm bench pressing 225. Or I'm deadlifting 500. You're going through this process of trying to take it to the next level, and your body, the back of your mind is telling you to quit. If you analyze and think about all the progress you made, and over time, you guys will start to accumulate all these like trophies, I guess you could say, or these achievements. You're gonna look back and you're like, dude, I did all of this. I can add this to my plate as well. I can add one. And that's where like that mental toughness comes in. And I think that everyone has their own challenges and their own, aspects of it. But in being able to pursue that and complete that, that's like the most euphoric feeling I've ever had in my life. Like nothing compares. I can go get a brand. I can go become through the business I'm building, I could become a multimillionaire. I don't think anything would compare to the fact that you're doing something that seems impossible, but you tell yourself and you tell your body, I'm going to keep going and pushing forward, and you do it and you achieve it. And I don't know, it's an amazing feeling, man.
Yeah, dude. Like, I think that's why I love the simplicity of like the Filthy 50 challenge, because it's like every day, like even if I don't want to go to the gym, I know that if I go in there, I'm going to spend 30 minutes like tops, not counting like my walk and stuff afterwards. And I know exactly what it is I'm doing. I'm going to do 50 pull-ups. I'm going to do 50 push-ups. I'm going to do 50 sit-ups, right? That's it. It's very, very simple. And something that I was wanting to do after the challenge is over is I was wanting to come up with some sort of 5-day or 7-day rotational program to be like, hey, every single day I'm doing 4 exercises, 1 chest, 1 back, 1 legs, 1 abs. And, like today might be a leg press. Tomorrow might be, I don't know, like the leg kick thing. You know what I mean? Like just And every single time I'm just doing 50 reps. I'm working the chest, I'm working the legs, I'm working the abs, I'm working the back every single day, just doing a little something different. And I think that'll be real great because it gets to the point where it's like, now we're on, like I said, like day 42 or something. And it's not a question of if I want to go to the gym or not. It's just, it's part of the routine now. Mm-hmm. Every single day I have to go. Like yesterday I was in the gym at 9 p.m. because that's the only time I get a chance to go in. And so I kind of wanted to get your guys' feedback on that. Like what would you think of doing something like that? I know you work out on your own, doing your own thing.
As far as like a rotation?
Well, yeah, just doing small stuff. So like when I used to go to the gym here, even like a couple months ago, it was like we'd go in and we'd do like a full workout, right? Like, hey, today's leg day, right? We go in, we hit all the leg stuff. All right, tomorrow is chest day. We hit all the chest stuff, and next day's back day. We do all the back stuff. But when I would do that, it would just leave me very worn out and very tired, which, would affect the rest of my day. It would affect my sleep. It would affect everything else. But just by going in there and doing something small where it's like, hey, I'm only spending 30 minutes in the gym, which arguably isn't a long time. And I'm doing, 50 reps on the legs, chest, back, and abs every single day. It's just, I can see like the small progress it's making. And so I didn't know, what would be your opinion or your feedback on doing something like that every single day? Not necessarily push-ups or anything, but just changing it up, different exercises every day.
Well, sure. I'm pretty firm believer in that whole variety is the spice of life thing. I think that could even have some influence on your exercise so that it doesn't become like, and I would even say like a little bit more variety as far as like every week doing a subtle shift, like rotation, randomizing it. So it's like, okay, Mondays aren't always chest days. Wednesdays aren't always legs days. I don't know. I guess it really depends on the person's comfortability with whatever exercises they're doing, or what is their ultimate end goal. Are they trying to build a chest? Are they just trying to lose weight? Are they trying to look like, Arnold Schwarzenegger? What are they doing? What's their diet? Like it's too many like mitigating and aggravating circumstances as far as like what each individual wants to accomplish down the line. But I think having a set, just a set time every day to say, okay, this is the time I'm putting aside to do something that falls under the scope of exercise. Am I going to go play basketball? Am I going to go play with my dogs and run around in the dog park? Am I going to go pick up 500 pounds 100 times and try not to vomit? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? But I think that's not a bad thing inherently. I think having like a set schedule and then figuring out what it is you're trying to do, and then ultimately, like, I think sticking to it is kind of a difficult thing, especially as a grown ass man who plays Dungeons and Dragons. It's one of the hardest things to try and get 5 to 6 to 7 adults to all sync their schedules to work every single week. So I understand when someone's like, oh, I missed the gym yesterday because X happened, Y happened, Z happened. And I know people will argue and say, oh, that's just excuses. Yeah, those are just reasons to get out of doing something. It's like, well, sure, that may be the case, but it may be something that was just overwhelming to somebody. Like I was overwhelmed last weekend. I couldn't make it to the show. I love the show, but I was not in a good headspace to be like, all right, let's hop on. Let's lift those moods.
Do it.
Well, Grant, I'm glad you bring up Dungeons and Dragons. I'm currently DMing a campaign right now, and I love it.
Wait, which one was that?
The Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
I'm DMing that same one.
Are you really? Dude, we need to share notes. Oh my gosh, we're nerding out, you guys.
I did want to say, Chris, because when you were asking about the chest, back, legs, and abs, you said you do those all in a single day.
Yeah. So like right now at the Filthy 50, you do 50 push-ups for chest, 50 pull-ups for back, and 50 sit-ups for abs, right? So what I was thinking was, if I did something like, after the challenge is over, hey, Monday, I'm doing, 50 reps of the bench press. Okay, that's my chest. I'm doing 50 rows to the back. All right, that's my back. 50 squats is the legs, and then 50 sit-ups is the abs. Then it's like Tuesday. All right, well then now let's come up with another chest exercise for Tuesday, another back, another abs, another leg. So I'm kind of hitting. Eventually, by the end of the week's over, you're hitting all the muscle groups of the chest, all the muscle groups of the legs, the back, the abs, whatever. So you're hitting all of them, but you're doing it consistently every single day. So like what I've noticed is like for example, the Filthy 50 challenge, I can't do pull-ups, right? My shoulders are too bad. So I do standing rows, right? So you get those bars that come down.
Yeah.
And when I first started, like the bars were up here, and it was like, it was a lot easier because you're not traveling that far. But now like the bars are like down like by the belly button, like waist area, right? And I'm going like way back, and then pull myself. So I gradually make it harder. And so it's still always a challenge. Like when I started doing the chest press on the machine, it was, hey, I was doing 40 pounds on like Monday, and then now it's like, okay, well now I'm up to 70. So I'm still making it harder. It's not just saying, hey, 50 easy reps and get out of there kind of thing. So it's still increasing the difficulty and making you stronger, but it's doing something every single day, but not doing it to the point to where you're just wiped out.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything. You know what I mean?
So tying into that, the reason why I asked is there's a lot of research from like a muscle building perspective, like a good amount of weight or a good amount of reps per exercise that you focus on for most stuff is around 50 reps. So that's actually a pretty good ballpark to consider. I would say when you're going about this process of doing this every day, if you have muscles that are like super fatigued or super weak, just variate it, make it go, like even have a lighter workout on those days, even if it's like band work, for example.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Are you planning on doing some weights?
Yeah. So like I'm gonna finish out the challenge as is, right? Because we're on the final stretch. But after that, I might take like a day off or so. If I'll even like mentally allow myself to do that, because I feel like I just can't, mentally I'm like, I don't know what to do with my time, and but no, yeah, I plan on doing more stuff if throwing it in there. Like I don't specifically try and throw in like an arm day or arm exercise. I'll get those with the back and with the chest, but yeah, so like I wanted to do something like, hey, dumbbell bench press kind of thing. All right, that's my chest exercise today, cool. like dumbbell rows, throw in weights. I'm, just the point is just different exercise, whether it's machine, free weights, whatever, but changing it up. My thing is, I just need to know what it is I'm doing on that day before I go into the gym. Otherwise, if I just walk in there and I'm like, all right, what am I doing today? Then you just, you lose that momentum. So if I just have something planned out, be like, hey, it's a 5-day rotation. Day 1, we do this. Day 2, we do this. 3, 4, 5, and then back to day 1, I do this again. Then, or even like a 7-day. You know what I mean? So you kind of just map it out easier. It just make it easier to be like, all right, today I'm doing flies. Tomorrow I'm doing bench press.
Yeah.
The next day I'm just standing in front of the mirror. Whatever.
Little posing, get some extra posing in.
Yeah.
I was gonna say too, like, just like you were saying, you're focusing on the simplicity. If you need to like rotate it every 3 days, you can do that too. Like you don't have to make it super like you're just doing like an exercise for each and every one, because sometimes, let's say for example, you're looking at the exercise, you're like, I don't want to do that shit today. I don't want to do it at all. And if it gets to that point where it's like super stressful of you trying to think of all these exercises, have like a smaller, rotation. And I think that would help a lot too. Going back to what Grant said about variations, I like the fact that like variations are great. If you're depending on your goals, I know with, for example, my brother's a power lifter, and I mentioned this before. He's going to have less variation because he wants to focus on technique on the squat, bench, and deadlift. So depending on your goals, maybe some variation might not be the key. But for me personally, since I do martial arts, when I go in the weight room, I do some oddball exercises. Like I'll do landmine pressing with a barbell, I'll attach it and I'll press. And that's just unconventional to most people, but it's because of the rotational power you get into it, the ab work that's being worked. It helps me with my martial arts. So variations can be very useful depending on your goals. And I think that if that's something that you could stick with and adhere to, like you enjoy it and you're having fun instead of doing the same exercise every day that gets super boring. If you find that changing the exercises up keeps you motivated and you're seeing progress from it, stick with it.
Yeah, and I think it's something I wanted to reach out to you guys in the community about, because I'm 100% down for variations, and changing up the exercises. But I do think I'd want to try and at least do a different type of exercise every day, just for the fact of it does get boring. You know what I mean? Like even yesterday, like I guess 2 days ago, I went to the gym for some reason, super pumped up, super motivated. I went in there, rocked out like everything super easily. Like by the time I was done, I was like, I need more. But yesterday I went in there, and it was probably because I hadn't eaten a lot during the day. It was 9 o'clock at night, but I went in there and I was just like, all right, here we go. And then I did the exercises, but it was just boring. It was just to do them, just to do them kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, I do want to change it up to be, to change stuff. For some reason, like back's my favorite thing to work out. I don't know why, it just is.
I like back a lot too. It's one of my favorite as well. I don't really do much arm work anymore because it's all the back work that I do. I'm good with that. My biceps blow up from pull-ups and stuff. So, but yeah, I really like back work too. But I could see that, especially doing it for almost 50 straight days. It could get very just repetitive. Yeah, just repetitive. It could get really boring, and you don't want that. If you start getting to that point, you're gonna start to hate working out, and that's not good either. I've been there.
Yeah. What's funny is like I have like a little corner of the gym, because it's not a big gym, it's a community gym here in the housing complex, that I just kind of block off for myself every day. And people like the regulars kind of like, they know, you know what I mean? When they see me coming out, I just take that corner now. Yeah. But like I secure like there's like a row of treadmills, right? Like there's a row of like 10 treadmills, and I always take the one on the very end because it's on the very end. And what I do is I put my feet underneath like the edge of the treadmill, because there's nothing beside it, and I can do my sit-ups that way, because the gym doesn't have any kind of sit-up bar or anything like that. And I noticed that whenever I wasn't using something to hold my feet, I was just bad form and I was all over the place. So I would be in the middle of my rounds, like I would have done 26 reps so far, and I'm on my third set, and all of a sudden someone just comes over and steals like that one treadmill when there's like 8 others open. I'm like, come on, man, like really? And so I started just putting all my stuff on that treadmill, like my drinks and stuff. And then you can tell like there are people who want to take it, but then they're like, oh, so somebody's got this, and maybe Grant, maybe you notice this too. I might be a loner here, but I've noticed people at the gym, like they all look tough, you know what I mean? Because they got like this, like, I don't know, wrestling bitch face, whatever, and they're trying to, we're gonna get through this. But no one wants confrontation in the gym. Like at least everyone that I've noticed, and they've all just been like real angry looking, and then you're like, hey man, can I do this? And they're like, oh my god, yeah, of course, blah blah blah, and so it's like, if I'm taking up a space, no one ever confronts me about it and talks to me about it. And I was like, if it's a real big issue, they'll say something, but otherwise, if I need something and it doesn't seem like they're using it or whatever, I'll respectfully wait till they're done with their set or whatever, and I'll be like, hey, sorry, can I blah blah blah, and then 90% of the time they're like, yeah, here you go, for sure.
Yeah, most people are fairly nice in the gym, even if they look angry.
Yeah.
And like it's one of those things that you'll notice. Sometimes you'll get those people that just have an attitude, but it's like that's their personal problem, and a lot of people don't agree with that in the gym anymore.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, yeah, just nice and respectful. Just keep it respectful. Keep it nice. I saw a video the other day, and we talked about Joey Swoll recently, a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I love Joey Swoll's videos.
Yeah, and he posted this one where this guy was like, something about, he got mad because somebody asked him if they're like if they can jump in or something like that, and he's like something along the lines of, when you get this big, you don't be asking people how many sets you got left or something like that. I'm like, bro, I looked at him and was like, bro, you got a long way to go. If you're talking that smack, you got a long way to go, bro. And even like everyone in the comments is just crapping on his physique, and I'm just like, that's when it's valid to like just take a dump on somebody when they're being disrespectful or being like just a cocky asshole. It's like, okay, this guy needs to get roasted. You just got to roast him in any way possible. And that's just how the gym is. It's so funny.
And dude, I agree. And I feel like the evolution of gym friendships are always the same. Like I've even started noticing. I've noticed it first, like on a video, and it's true. It's like when I walked in there, like first day, you didn't make eye contact with anyone, you were doing your own thing. And then it's like after a couple of weeks, like you start seeing someone that you get regular, and you're like the head nodding, you can do your own thing. And then now I'm at the point where like I walk in, I see, someone regular and they see me. And it's like we're throwing out, hey, what's up, man? I was like, hey, what's going on? And eventually we're gonna start talking. You know what I mean? It takes 6 months to get there for us.
That's definitely true. I actually went. I had lunch with one of the gym guys because he was asking me questions about social media because he does real estate, and he was like, I've been seeing you all over the place because you keep posting stuff, so I wanted to get your feedback. And it's just the guy I worked out in the gym and had a small conversation with, and I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And he's like, I got lunches on me. I'm like, all right, lunch is on you. I'll take it, dude. And it was a good conversation. We talked about gym stuff. He actually gave me some insights on manufacturing too, because he used to work in manufacturing before he got into real estate, which is really interesting. I learned a lot from that. And cool. just random conversation with just constantly talking to this guy, and then you find out what they do and stuff, and then it might be an opportunity in a lifetime. And I think that's so important, especially with somebody that's dealing with like depression and anxiety. And one of the things is that avoidant behavior. You're trying to avoid stuff. You're not trying to be a burden on people, but the most therapeutic conversations I've had are in the gym, because you have this bonding experience with a bunch of people that have similar challenges that you face, and they're also using this outlet to improve themselves mentally.
Yeah. No, dude, I agree. I think the gym's a great place to make those connections.
And listen, I know a lot of people are hesitant because they'll see one video about some like asshole person. It's just like, oh, look what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. Now you see that stitch, and then next thing you know, you see Joey Swoll's face. You know he's got your back. Like,
dude, I'm honestly just like waiting for the time when someone just puts me on TikTok to blow me up, to be like, oh, can you believe this guy? Something negative about me. Like, I secretly want it. You know what I mean?
I want to be on TikTok, so then Joey Swoll defends me, or like other people in the fitness industry are defending me. I'm surprised. I'm probably on TikTok somewhere, just doing these crazy like movements that I do after my workout sessions, all the stretches I do, like the handstand practice I do, because I look like a weirdo in my gym, because my gym is like lifting straight weights. That's pretty much all people do. And then they see some guy doing some weird push-up variations and stuff. They're like, all right, let's record this guy. He looks like a dick. Like, my buddies make fun of me. Like my brother and his friends too, they make fun of me. They're like, you look like a Neanderthal. I'm like, but I am. I'm like, you don't see this anywhere else. This is my turf. This is my spot. I'm marking my territory right here.
Dude, and I feel like working out is, I don't know, just giving you and me more confidence in general, right? Like we were on our work call the other day, and you were like, I love this version of Chris where he just shit talks people, and we weren't shit talking at work. We were just making small jokes, but I was like, it made me laugh. Like Grant,
on one.
like Grant, do you what have you noticed for your self-confidence?
I feel more, geez, my brain. I feel more confident to wear the stuff I bought. In the past, I've bought, clothes and stuff, and I put them on, and then I'm like, oh, this doesn't fit the way I'd like it to look, or like, oh, this is too small, oh, this is too short. And then I feel bad because it's like, well, shit, I spent money on it. And then I end up hiding it in the darkness of the closet. But that's one of the things is I told Tony, I just started losing some weight again. I'm down 3 pounds this week.
Dude, awesome. Why didn't you lead with that?
I just didn't come up. And that's kind of the funny thing is, like, this shirt was one of the shirts that I had bought because it's like, oh, this is a dope shirt. I'm very into the whole tropical look, and I was like, oh, this is a dope shirt. But when I bought it, it just didn't fit. It was way too tight. And now it fits just fine. So
yeah.
That's one of those things is like, I felt confident enough to say, you know what, I'm going to take that out of the vacuum bag and try it on again and see how it looks. And I put it on, and here we are. So now I'm looking fly, and, just lifting my mood mentally.
Feeling good.
Grant, like real talk, and this isn't me just like hyping you up. You're like, you really motivate me. You know what I mean? Now, because now I'm like, fuck, man, I want to go try on some shirts. I want to go work out. And I've been waiting for a way just to bring it up, but that is a dope ass shirt. Like I was trying to find a way to be like, how do I slip that in there? Because I love that shirt.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I mean, I wish the pocket wasn't black because it makes it look kind of weird with the pattern, but without it, it's fine too. I dig the shirt, and I've always liked tropical stuff, and the only way to really get it in my size is like around the summertime. So like I bought this last summer.
Yeah.
And I've never worn it once. I tried it on and I was disappointed. I was like, it doesn't fit right. Fuck. And it hid in my closet for a whole year. And I took it out last week and I said, okay, we've lost weight. Let's give it a shot. And here we are.
That's
yes.
Dude, that's awesome. As Tony was talking earlier, I saw you pull out like your water bottle, like the big gallon water bottle. And as you moved it across your shirt, that black patch there, the black pocket, I thought it was like a gallon of like Coke or something, because all I saw was the black. And I was like, Grant, what are you doing, man?
Oh, yeah, you see.
I realized it was water, but I have the same bottle, but I was like, a gallon of Coke, man. What are you doing?
Listen, I love Bert Kreischer.
I would have had a heart attack.
I love Bert Kreischer, but I could never do that. Have you guys seen that skit where he talks about he was drinking out of his gallon thermos, and his buddy Tom asked him what he was drinking. He's like, Kool-Aid.
Yeah. He's like, I'm drinking Kool-Aid, man. He's like, everyone just thinking you're being healthy.
Yeah, exact.ly. No. It's water. It could be vodka if I really wanted to, but no.
That sugar would mess you up so bad. Like, I can't imagine just drinking that much. I actually had an old, when I worked in the grocery, I had an old employee that would drink a 2-liter of Coca-Cola every single day. And I was like, bro, he asked me about losing weight, and I was like, just turn that into diet, please. I was like, you'll drop a lot of weight from that, because that shit is like 700, 800 plus calories, dude. Just straight sugar, man.
Cut it in half, have the Diet Coke, and then, maybe a half a gallon.
Yeah, there you go. That's moderation, man. Moderation.
You can still drink the same amount, just change it up. Maybe have some Crystal Light or something.
Yeah.
When I was in the military, right, at my last duty station, I'd have the gallon of water, but then I put Crystal Light in it, and it ended up being like it was like the big packs. It was like 30 calories total to fit the whole gallon. It was something like that. It was like 20 to 30 calories, not that much, but it was grape flavored, so it was dark. And anytime I'd go to like doctor's appointments or whatever, I would have like the big gallon back at work, like in the fridge, but then I'd constantly fill up, like my little travel cup, so I always take that with me and drink everywhere. So I drink the whole gallon throughout the whole day. Well, everyone always thought it was Coke. I'd go to the doctor and I'd have that with me, and they're like, should you be drinking that, son? And I was like, well, it's water. I was like, I promise, it's grape flavored Crystal Light, you guys.
Grape flavored Crystal Light.
Dude,
I'm judging you a little bit.
Dude, grape's my favorite. I don't know why. Like when I was a kid, even drinking the grape soda turns your poop purple, but it turns it green. But it was my favorite. It still is. I love grape things.
More power to you, man.
Speaking of poop, I want to share a story with you guys if we have like 30 seconds real quick.
Yeah, dude, go first.
And this is for anyone who's just worried about working out. So I'm in the middle of the Filthy 50 challenge. It's like day 32, 33, something like that. It was, a week or so ago. And I'm like halfway through like my sets, right? So I've done like 24, 25 reps or so. And I'm doing my sit-ups now. And I thought this would go away. This hasn't. Every time I do sit-ups, I'm just farting. Like I'm just farting up a storm, right? Constantly. And I've just accepted it. And I don't care anymore. And people might look at me, because every time like, and they're not subtle. I'm gonna be honest, they're not subtle. But like a week ago, I thought I farted so hard I thought I pooped myself. I was like, I have to leave. I have to leave the gym because I think I just pooped myself. And I didn't, thankfully, but it was a bad one, you guys. So don't worry about it. It happens to everyone. Who hasn't pooped himself at the gym?
You might be straining yourself a little too hard.
the gym, it's okay. But just
If-
as long as like you don't sit there and just let it acclimate, like in the that gaseous cloud just floating over everyone's head, like, and they're squatting and they're like inhaling and exhaling, like they're gonna pass out, type thing. Try to run to the bathroom afterwards.
That's why I do the reps. It's 4 sets of like 12 to 13 reps. I'm over here. I do like my pull-ups. I'm over here to my push-ups. Over here to the sit-ups. Gas it up. Go back over here, and then by the time I way back around again, it's already dispersed.
Yeah, it's already
dispersed. Start round 2.
I like how we're talking about strategically moving away from the parts.
That's where you're missing the opportunity to be, stinking up the area and then air bend it towards the body shape.
Oh yes. Around and throw it. You don't like that certain person and you just throw it in the corner. Like
and you just sit there and wait.
I love how Grant, like you can see Grant's excitement and he's like, yes.
Yes.
Waiting for that reaction, just yes.
We all know who the evil mastermind is here, you guys.
Dude, I'm a dungeon master. Of course I'm an evil mastermind. Yeah, man. I honestly, Chris, when you were when you were wanting to talk about poop, I thought you were going to talk about movement, because when you're moving, you're moving.
Oh, no, guys, I just try to poop myself. That's all.
Yeah, because that's been something that I've noticed, like with me working this very physical job, is when I really start moving in the truck and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've had these moments where I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom right now. Especially with like eating cleaner, eating more fiber and stuff. I'm moving. I'm sure a lot of people could figure out the inflection on that and what the meaning is, but it's something that I was told a long time ago, like, oh yeah, if you're not moving at least 2 to 3 times a day, your digestive system's bad. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. I don't want to poop all day long.
It's a whole endeavor,
Yeah, exactly. I figure it's if I get movement every day, I'll take movement. But I don't know. It's just that's what I thought. That's where I thought you were taking that conversation.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're grown-ass men talking about poop.
Hey man, everybody poops. Everyone should teach their children that book. They should read it to them when they start to comprehend stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not take childcare advice from us.
Hey, come on. Everybody poops.
Get your greens in so you can poop, guys. Get
There
those
you go.
greens in so those poop breaks do not take 20 minutes and they take 5.
You guys are pooping for 5 minutes? Good lord.
My bathroom breaks are pretty quick. My brother's
No, dude, mine's a whole thing. Like, go in there, you relax, you pull out the TikToks,
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like, 30 minutes have gone by, your leg's numb. At that point, you're like, oh my God, all right.
Oh,
let's try and lean against the wall and stand up, and just get the feeling back. It's a whole thing.
From talking about mental toughness to poops.
Well, let me bring it back to mental toughness. I have another story I want to share with you guys. Well, a couple stories anyway. So mental toughness, right? Something I've been working on. It's something I've been working on for a while. It wasn't just a switch, but I feel like the switch kind of did happen this week. It was working on the mental health side of things, right? And as I'm working out more, as I'm going through the Filthy 50 challenge, I'm also doing other things in my life. Like I'm taking a leadership course, like through our friend Justice, to learn how to go from solopreneur to leader. And I'm doing things like that. And so doing that in combination with working out, even the simple stuff every day, I feel like it really helps cement some of the stuff in there, because as I'm working out, that's what I'm thinking of, right? And I don't know, it really just clicks and makes things happen. Well, I was thinking back to my past childhood and my time in the military, and just everything before. And And I kind of realized that a lot of the stuff that happened, growing up or even in the military, like it wasn't my fault, right? It was just, and it was, I wouldn't say it wasn't necessarily the other person's fault because it was, but after realizing, we're all just people trying to figure it out.
Mhm.
And did they do it wrong? Whatever that was, yeah, for sure they did. But at the end of the day, it wasn't your fault, and you didn't deserve to get treated the way you got treated. So, like this one time, while in the military, I had an NCO named Sergeant, right? And was by far my entire career the worst leader I've ever had, right? Like he just like went out of his way to make your life hell. He was like, it was just for no reason. Well, one day, I was in charge of the squadron's S4, vehicles, supplies, things like that, and we were re-renovating the warehouse. So I was basically thrown into the situation that I've never been in before to be like, hey, you got to figure out how to take everything out of this warehouse, store it somewhere, tear everything in the warehouse down, and then pretty much bring everything in, set it all up, and then restock the shelves, kind of thing, right? And this isn't by any means a small warehouse, right? This is a very large, thousands of items. Like it's a huge endeavor, and the timetable I was given to do it was incredibly short for the project, and it's just me, right? Me and like one other guy. And so basically I'm in the middle of doing this project, and who wasn't involved in the project whatsoever comes down to just check up on the project, the process. And for whatever reason, he didn't like, I don't know, the way things were being done, right? He didn't have any understanding of it. He didn't understand what was going on, but he just came in and he just started bitching and raving, throwing shit everywhere. Like we had one dustpan in the entire warehouse, and he kicked it so hard we never found it, right? And that was an ongoing joke we had. Where's this thing? We never found this dustpan, and he just like belittled you and made you feel like garbage, right? Like I would go home after that project, and then he would call me on my phone just to scream at me for like a minute and a half, and then hang up the phone, before you could even respond or anything. And then you'd be like, all right. And then like 2 minutes later, he would call you again just to continue the berating. And it's just like, what are you doing? And at the time when I was in, you couldn't talk shit to an NCO, right? To a senior NCO anyway. You couldn't talk back. It was just, yes, sir. I understand, sir. I'm sorry, sir, kind of thing. And for some reason, I always held like everything he said to me, like with me for a long time. And then I also want to fast forward and kind of break that into when I first moved to Hawaii. I moved in with a guy who I was military friends with, and we were friends for years. I moved in with him just so I can get my feet underneath of me. For 5 months, I lived with him. I paid him rent. I basically raised his kids because he was going through a divorce, and it was just him in the house. We had to work. I raised his like 4 kids. I clothed them. I bathed them. I fed them. I grocery shopped for the house. I cleaned the house. Like I was like a living nanny, basically. That on top of my rent. Well, after 5 months, I gave him like a month notice, but I was like, hey man, I gotta get my own place, blah, 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 blah. And it forced him to kind of step up and be a little more of an adult. Well, after I got my own place, he just straight up ghosted me. He was just like, like fuck you, and ghosted me. And I reached out a couple times over the past few years, and it was always just, no response. Like you could tell he saw the message with no response. And for some reason I was like, no, man, like, why am I such a fuck up, right? What did I do wrong, kind of thing, right? Because it's always my fault. And I just kind of like, I finally gave myself permission to be like, no, man, like fuck them. It's their fault. It's not your fault. They don't deserve your protection anymore. They don't deserve your loyalty anymore. So cut them off, right? Cut them off mentally. And like, if I ever saw them again and they ever wanted to rebuild bridges, sure, we can go down that route. But like for now, man, like you're worth more than what you were giving yourself credit for and what other people were giving yourself credit for. And I truly believe, like I'm on a mindset now, and I'm on a trajectory now that one day soon, within the next few years, people's biggest flex is going to be that they once knew me.
Oof.
Yeah. Right. Let that.
Oh.
And that could be your biggest flex too. That's all I'm saying. And I really believe that. I really started getting in that mindset. I really believe that. I'm like, you know what? If we're going to do this, if we're going to start this business, if we're going to lose this weight, if we're going to follow our dreams, we need to set out an actual game plan, and we need to start doing it. Because if I truly believe people's biggest flex will be that they once knew me, I got to start putting in the work. I got on Instagram and I was looking at some of my military friends, and I was like, dude, look at all these cool ass pictures that they're putting up there. And then, and of course you're seeing the highlights of their life. But I know, unless they did any kind of mental growth, like I've been doing over the past few years, their life's terrible, because I remember what their life was like, being friends with them, being close to them, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So it's like, and of course I'm just seeing the highlights of their life. But I was like, if they told me today, if I reached out to them, they told me, hey man, I built an audience of 10,000 or 100,000 followers, and I launched this business, and I lost 45 pounds, and I'll be like, oh, holy shit, like, great job. I mean, I would never have seen that coming, kind of thing. And then, I don't know, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Point about this, like, if you guys keep leveling up in all aspects of your life, I like to be surrounded by people who do that, because I have friends that, some friends of mine are more so, they have their own things going on and stuff, but they're, they have kids, and that their goals are their kids and stuff like that. And for me, I'm not at that like part of life yet, and I'm still hungry for more. But then there's this like aspect of me that I feel like even when I have kids and stuff, I'm still gonna be hungry for more progress, hungry for more growth, and it's the entrepreneurial side of me now. And the thing is, like, what they're doing is not necessarily a bad thing they're doing, because they have their own pathway, but this is my pathway. Like, I just focusing on growing and surrounding myself around people who pursue that growth as well. And I love to see that within both you guys. That's going to fire me up so much. I want to see you guys win. I want to see you guys crush, because it's going to give me some, not just like motivation to go crush and stuff, but it's also going to give me this kind of tension for me to keep moving, this kind of discomfort, if that makes sense. The discomfort for me to keep moving forward and keep progressing. And discomfort is not always a bad thing. Discomfort can cause you to go pursue something that's challenging, or something along the lines of that. That's what exercise is. That just you're encountering discomfort to transform into something that you weren't before, but who you're trying to become, And I wanted to kind of bring this full circle, because we're about to end here. But with our circumstances and stuff, I know a lot of people, you'll see a lot of comments of people debating on this, but I feel like, wherever you're born, wherever pathway you're set in, whatever life experiences you had, you're not defined by your circumstances. You're defined by the actions you take afterwards. And I've seen people from like the worst of circumstances become like absolute badasses, or become people who inspire so many other people to take action. And I think that everyone has a potential to do that. But the question is, are you willing to pursue that, based on your circumstances, pursue more discomfort in order for you to keep transforming and keep, escalating, but understanding that your circumstances were one aspect of your life. It's time for you to do something about that, take it to the next level. There's something else that you can do.
I love that. And I 100%.
You guys want to conclude with anything else? Anything you want to talk about, or?
I just want to mention, we wanted to talk about mental toughness today, and I've kind of already talked a little bit about how every individual is different a lot in these previous episodes, because it's something that's really important to me. Tony, when you were talking about how you see that there are people online who are, flaming others for their appearance or their weight or whatever the case may be, I can see it hurting other people, and, bullying's never cool.
Yeah.
But from my side, I feel pity for those kinds of people. But I also think that it's really important that everybody kind of grasps and understands that mental toughness is different in every single person. There's a biological factor to it, as far as like resilience to stress and things like that. And, a lot of people, like myself, I'll even talk about, coming from childhood trauma and stuff like that, and having a difficult upbringing. I'll joke with my friends that, I'm like a sword. I'm forged through fire, and I'm forged through, steel being beaten on. And I always joke about that with some of my friends, like, oh yeah, I'm a forged sword, So I'm a sharp blade, but it takes a lot of beatings and a lot of heat, and a lot of fire to get there.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
as like, but that doesn't mean like there are days where I'll see something that's directed towards me and it'll hurt me, and I'll acknowledge that pain and then I'll move along. But there are other people out there who don't have that kind of resilience, and to not think of themselves as lesser for having that issue, and realizing that mental toughness is like any other muscle, something that you have to build up over time.
Yes.
And whether you're starting from a high amount of toughness or if you're starting from a low amount of toughness, it takes diligence, it takes mindfulness mostly, and the realization that everybody's their own individual person, and that you can't let what others say or do change who you are fundamentally.
Beautifully said, man. Beautifully said. That's exactly it. I love it, man.
Yeah. And that was just something I wanted to put out there.
Ooh, Grant ended with the heat, bro. Well, there's some things I wanted to mention to you guys afterwards, but we could do it after the call. All right, Grant, I want you to conclude with the magic word.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We here at the Mood Lifters, we love you this Sunday. We're excited for you to join us next time. We only got one last question for you today. Have you lifted your mood?
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out on our Facebook groups, the Mood Lifters, facebook.com/groups/Mood Lifters, or you can reach out to me on social media, Instagram or TikTok or YouTube at Live Reforged. Much love to you guys. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Take care.
Be well.
I want to thank you guys for watching and listening to this week's episode of the Mood Lifters. If you need help on your exercise for weight loss journey, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you on your journey. You can head on over to facebook.com/group/moodlifters to join our Mood Lifters group. In this group, you can work with us, you can talk with us, you can interact with all the Mood Lifters. And as time progresses, we're going to be inviting some of you guys on the show. We would love to see what you're doing on your exercise for mental health journey, in losing weight, in battling depression, and in getting your life back. And if you guys need help on your exercise journey, we created supplements specifically for your Mood Lifters. We have a pre-workout and sleep supplement. And if you go on over to amazon.com/reforged, you can get access to our supplements. And if you guys have any questions about any of the products, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at Live Reforged on any social media platform. And with that, I want to thank you guys for watching and listening, and we will see you in the next one.